What do we perceive? Welcome to the Live It, Lead It podcast, a brand new cast for business leaders, not only in IT, who want to achieve more in less time. If you're a leader in IT or you want to become one very soon, this is your program. If you are a business leader and you want to grow personally, this is your program. If you want to improve your own performance and simply live a better life, this is your program. Greetings from Europe to all the successful people out there in the world. I am your host, Olaf Kapinski. I believe I need to extend the episode from last week a little bit. And this is what this episode is about. Perception. When I say disconnect your bad feelings from what happens in the outside world and go back to the lit 03 to the last episode, then this is a bit vague, so to say. Let's have a look into perception itself. In the neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, we say the map is not the world. So that means there is the world out there. Yes, I'm an engineer. I understand that we have a physical world out there. And when the apple gets away from the branch, then it just falls down to the ground and we can do the calculation how fast the apple hits the ground. This is the physical world. And this is not what we perceive. It is there, but this is not what we sense every day. What I'm talking about. I'm now looking out the window of my studio and I see a house and I can't even count them. Lots of tree with an infinite number of branches on it. The number of branches is finite. You could count them, but I just only see 3 or 4 big trees, no leaves. So I see a big mesh of branches. What I perceive is there is a tree out there in the garden of the others. I do not perceive all the details because this is useless information for me at the moment. I understand here is my studio light for the video podcasting, but that's all. Yes, it has a covering and this covering is a little bit foldy. The physical world has a white covering with an accountable number of folds. To me, it's just a bit foldy white covering. If I explain you my studio here, then I give you my representation of what I see of the real world. I say it very often, you live in your own world. And most people are swallowing a little and like, what? And everybody needs to think about that for a while. I understand we all live on the same physical planet. Yes, that's true. But that's it. How we deal with the world is based on what do we sense from the world? What do we recognize? And let me give you a nice example. Let's build a test lab. We now build a test lab. And we put 2 people in this test lab. The test lab is exactly the same room. And we put 2 people in, and then we ask those 2 people, explain me the room. And by the way, do this with your partner, and then you can see what I mean. Make it go along this street, whatever it is. I mean, it's I need a bit of street where stuff is on, and go for 5 minutes, and then explain each other what you saw, what you heard, what you smelled, what you sensed. You wouldn't be the first couple who just where both think, dude, where have you been? Love, where have you been? Let's go back to the labs. We take the laboratory, and I explain you the laboratory. Now this is a usual supermarket. The floor with the lingerie for the females. And I'm not talking about a very naughty shop where you can only go when you just show your ID card. I'm just talking about the usual stuff that is in every, not supermarket, in every warehouse available. That's the lab. And our 2 people are a mature married female and a single 14-year-old male. And we sent them both through that test lab, the lingerie department in the warehouse. And then we asked both independently what she or he recognized. It doesn't require much fantasy who explains us what. It was both the same physical world. We could even put them at the same time into that shop. I mean, the boy wouldn't have recognized the other ladies or even, So they have complete different focus. They have a complete different focus. So the female can maybe even tell you the prices of the stuff and the fabric, and this one there was very nicely made, and that one there was not so nicely made. Whereas the boy, well, my assumption would be just had imaginations. Both lived in their own worlds. And we have this day in, day out. The whole comedy is full with the playing with different worlds. Different races have different expressions or impressions of the world. Different genders have different impressions. They sense different things. They recognize different things. They have their focus on different things. Nothing of that is right or wrong. It's only an observation. It is there. So how does that work? How do we perceive? Let's have a look at the pure visual piece as an example, and this works for all the senses that we have. We have 5 senses. We can listen, we can see, very obviously. We can smell, we can taste, and we can feel. Those are the 5 senses. Let's talk about the visual channel first. First I talk about the visual channel, and this works for the others as well. When you look to the world, then this process of looking is just simply the photons who are reflected from the physical world just make an electric impulse in your eye. And this then, as far as we know, gets completely with no filter being transported into the brain. This is one of the reasons why the eyes are so close to the brain. They have a very, very huge data highway between the nerve cells and the back of the eye and the brain. And there is enough people saying the back of the eye is part of the brain because of the very, very tight connection. So up to here, it's a pure physical process that works with everybody the same way. And now it starts to differ. We have a filter between the region in the brain who just interprets what the eye sees and the real brain that we call the conscious mind. There is a filter. And this filter is a self-made filter. That filter is programmed by ourselves. It's programmed by ourselves based on our experiences of the past, based on our values, based on everything that we did put in our brains in the life so far. The boy in our lab, in our lingerie lab, had completely different filters. Don't ask the boy about any price tag. He didn't saw it. The lady had different filters up there. Different situations different situations cause different filters to trigger. So both in the physical world, the filters are the reason why they both perceive a different world. So I think now the loop is closed. When I say we all live in different worlds, then what I really say is we all perceive the physical world through a different set of filters. And this is, as I said, nearly every comedy works with that females see different things, perceive different things. It's all there, but men don't see shoes. I mean, it's somewhat genetical defect or so. Sure, the men see the shoes, but they don't care because, well, we bought our shoes 2 years ago. What's your point? So to feed the cliche a little, it gets more. I'm not finished with that. everything all the impressions that go through that self-programmed filter into our conscious mind then cause a feeling or can cause a feeling. Talking about a feeling, ask the boy how he felt. Exactly. This is a feeling. When you see this piece of paper and that is written by your government and it says you have to pay $150 because you just drove too fast, then this is the physical impression. This is photons are reflected by the dark ink on the white piece of paper into your eye. This full information set hits the piece of the brain. That information then goes through the filter into your conscious mind. You do not see, on average, you do not see the You do not perceive the details on the piece of paper. You do not recognize if that thing was twice folded to just fit in this envelope. You don't see that. What you see is the number that you have to pay. And this, then, lots of people allow themselves to act on that or to react on that. And this is usually, like the rain worms, they have no brain, they only react. When I just see what some people do, I think, well, dude, where's your brain? Why did you switch it off? I mean, it's a nice thing to play with. So those impressions, those perceptions can cause feelings. And even, I said the filters are self-programmed, even the feelings are self-programmed. Feelings are nothing else than behavior. Feelings are thoughts. The filters are thoughts. And the thoughts are thought by your brain. So that's the good message here. That's the positive message. Everything that happens in your brain is made by yourself and can be changed by yourself if you want. And this is how success works. Successful people adjust their own thinking in a way that they become more and more successful. So the changing part is extremely important, and we'll talk about that later. So what do we perceive? I gave you a model that lots of people work with. I mean, it's only a thinking model. Is there really a layer in the brain which has those filters? That's not important, but it's observable when you see that people have different filters. They have their focus on different things, and this is usually based on situations, experience, their values, all of those things. Why do I put that at the very beginning of this podcast series? Because I believe this is a critical information to understand and to take over. What does that do is it brings you out of this judging. There is nothing right or wrong if somebody else lives in his or her own map, in her own map of the world. Successful people don't blame others to live on their own map. Successful people accepted that there is different maps of the same physical world, in each and every brain a different one. Once you are there, you can put away lots of trouble, you can put away lots of pain, because then you can work with the filters and then you can really deal with it. When it comes to yourself, you can ask yourself, where is my connection between bad feeling in my brain and stuff that happens in the outside world? And then you can cut those connections piece by piece by piece by piece. I don't need to be angry when I just received a speed ticket. I could just, and this is not healthy either. I just, at my last one, I've just looked at the left side and thought, dude, that was worth it. The speed was really, it wasn't so expensive. But we call it in NLP calls this reframing. It is give the stuff a different meaning, because stuff has no meaning. Stuff is stuff, and we give it meaning. We give it either importance, like 2 episodes ago, or we give it the meaning of I have to become angry because no. Be happy that you have a car that drove that fast. Be happy that you have a car. Be happy that the street allowed that. Be happy that you live in a country where you only get photographed and not shot in the head. So, what do we perceive? This is a complex process that works for every channel. It is completely individual, and there is no reason for blaming people of not living in the own world. That's it from me. Have a very good one. The next episode is coming, so just click fast forward. And by the way, if you like, this is episode 4 now. If you like, you can contact me, write me, English preferred or German if you want. This is Olaf at liveitleadit.com. Live it, lead it in one word. No hyphens, no nothing. Write me what you think about that. Write me if you miss something. Write you if you want me to sharpen one or two of those thoughts, and write me if you disagree. I like that. See you in the next episode. Have a good one. Bye, Olaf.